Hey guys, Rachel here from Day to Day Joys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I am going to share with you my 10 tips for using Sonlight curriculum. Let's dig right in.
Dirty dishes, peaceful wishes, blissful messes tangled up in joy.
Sonlight graciously sent us a full curriculum package to use for the 2017-2018 school year, and we have used it, and we are actually finishing up our last week of school, week 36. I am so excited, and I can't believe that we're here. It feels like an accomplishment, and I'm excited to share with you the 10 things that have helped me this year as first-time Sonlighters. So let's get started. So I have 5 or 6 pages of notes here that I wrote of all of my 10 tips that I'm going to share with you. Number 1 is going to be ask for help. Sonlight has set up in a way to help the consumer or the person who's going to purchase Sonlight or use it. They have chats that you can go on their website and chat with somebody right there, real time. And also they have where you can call them. They're advisors that help you out to determine which level you want to use for your kids, if you have multiple age levels and all of that. And they are there to help you. And whenever someone asks me, I don't know what level to get, that is where I send them, because whenever I first was deciding and determining what level we should get, I just first chatted with somebody and then I called somebody up and kind of told them my concerns about my kids and their ages and their strengths and weaknesses, and they really helped me out to determine what level we used, and we used that level and it worked out really well. And so just go ask for help if you need it. Number 2 is make it exciting before you start using Sonlight. This was our first year, this 2017-2018 school year, and so I knew I wanted to make it exciting. This was our second year as full-time homeschooling. Before, we had done something in the past where it was half school, half homeschool, and so this was our second year of full-time homeschooling, and so I wanted to make it fun and exciting for me and for my children. So we did a box day, and we had a whole day of fun when the box arrived and we opened it up, and it was really exciting. I have a video, and it's one of my favorite videos that we did, and we just got to, dig in and see all these new exciting things. It was like Christmas Day, really, and make it that exciting if you have a box day. Whether you use brand new Sonlight or if you buy it used, you can have a box day no matter what, because it's exciting to check out all these books that you're going to be digging into the following school year. And so that is my next tip, to make it exciting. And then it's also fun to take pictures with my kids, and I stacked the books up and they sat next to them, because those are all the books that they were going to be reading throughout this school year, and to see that accomplishment. And then I plan to do that at the end of the year and take a picture maybe of them laying down with all the books around them to show just exactly what they read, what they learned, to capture the year that we just did with Sonlight. Number 3 is plan it out. So I am not a planner by nature, and I strive to be a planner, and I see all these neat planner videos and things and blogs and Instagram stories, and I try to be, but I'm just not a planner by nature. I'm not a type A personality. So when I was thinking about starting Sonlight, I thought I need to kind of have some kind of plan. I'm not talking about planning what exactly you're going to do each day, like what you're going to do for Bible, history, and all that, because Sonlight kind of already has that in their instructor's guide. It's planned out. For an example, it's planned out what you're going to do each day. The kind of plan that I'm saying plan it out is plan out your 36 weeks of how you're going to do it. Are you going to do year-round school? Are you going to follow the traditional public school schedule from August to May? Most public schools, I don't know where you live. Are you going to do a 6-week on, 1 week off? Just what kind of schedule are you going to have? And then plan it out in a planner, or print out a year at a glance printable and mark in your 36 weeks of when you think you're going to do school. When I first did this at the beginning of the year, I used a day spring planner, and I kind of put in the week of when I thought each one of the 36 weeks was going to go. Number 4 is don't overthink it. Don't be spending a lot of time thinking about how things are going to play out, because sometimes you just have to jump in and try it, and then it will, all the ducks will get in a row because you have some experience under your belt. So I kind of had to learn that because I was trying to plan all these things out in the beginning of the year, and then once we started using Sonlight, then I kind of saw how the day was going to go. Sometimes you only learn those things from experience, and then you can kind of gauge how you're going to do things. So don't overthink it part comes in when things in life come up. Sickness, having a baby. For me, for this year, it was having a miscarriage that kind of interrupted my whole life. And so I had to not take it so seriously about how I was going to plan out these weeks that I just did when I talked about number 3, and I planned out my weeks, and then it wasn't going how I had planned it out. So what I'm saying is, don't overthink it. No worries. Take your friction pen out or your eraser and get your planner and erase those things out and put in how you're going to do it from then forward. So take a break and make adjustments to your plan, and it's all going to be all right. The next tip is to keep a routine. So I am not the best one with keeping a routine, or the concept of keeping a routine, because I like to keep my options open. I like to be able to be spontaneous if I want to. But I have found that this year, using Sonlight, and maybe it's because it's our first year, I don't know, that doing Sonlight first thing for us was the best thing. It was helpful and beneficial to start our day off with doing our group subjects. So we did our Bible, history, any geography, and our read alouds, and we did it first thing. And why this was good for us is because my little kids slept in later, and we got up a little bit earlier before them, and we could do this stuff and knock it out in an hour or less. And it was just the big kids and I doing this. Because I can tell you right now, on the days when the little kids woke up or we had something else and I was like, we'll do this group Sonlight stuff later, or read aloud and all that, I'll tell you what, it didn't get done 99% of the time. So for us, it worked best to have that routine of starting and doing our reading together first thing in the morning. The next tip is they don't have to sit still. This is kind of different if you grew up going to traditional school, or even it's in your personality to be a rule follower like me and not want to get in trouble. I mean, I remember when I was a little girl and I got in trouble, and at that time what they did was you had to go write your name on the board, and that was mortifying for me to have to go up and write my name on the board. So I did not like to get in trouble, and so I'm kind of a rule follower. When you're at church or wherever you're listening to someone read or listening to a speech, you're sitting still and listening, and that's kind of ingrained in my brain. But with Sonlight, your kids don't have to sit still. You can do all kinds of activities while you are reading to them. They can play Legos, they can draw, they can do watercolors, they can do hand stitching, whatever you can think of that's kind of like a quiet activity, they could do it while you are reading. Recently, I've read an article that said that actually when kids are sitting and doing something while they're listening and learning, it actually helps them retain the information. Just think about you, or for me, when I'm folding laundry or I am washing dishes, and if I'm listening to a sermon online or a podcast, then actually I'm retaining more information while I'm doing something with my hands, because that's just how the brain works. I also had my kids use these notebooking journals, these history notebooking journals, when we read our history, and this helped them to write any tidbits or information that they learned while I was reading. I'll show you an example real quick. This is my daughter's journal. So she wrote in the notes, and then she did do some drawing. Whether it had anything to do with the actual reading or not, I didn't care. But they're notes that I had them write down. Each day we did history, I had them do 2 to 3 to 4 notes, depending on how long the passage that we were reading was and anything that they learned about. And these did get a lot of wear and tear. All of our books did. Actually, I don't know how some people keep their books all nice and neat. Our books do not look all nice and neat, especially if we dug into them. So yeah, you don't have to sit still. The next tip is skip it if you have to. So I really hate to say that, especially since this literature that Sonlight has picked out for each level is so enriched and emerged with so much great information and history. But if it's something that's bogging you down, then I will just say go ahead and skip it. So if it's something that's holding you back, or when it's time to read it and you're like, oh, I have to finish this book, or you're just not finding joy in it, then what I would say is just go ahead and skip that book and maybe come back to it later, but don't let it clog up your schedule so that you're not moving on to the next book. So my next tip is choose the 4-day schedule. In my opinion, this is just the best way to go. I know Sonlight offers a 4 or a 5-day option, and why I like the 4-day option is because you can knock out your schoolwork in the 4 days, and then on the other day have a fun day. So for us, we did school Monday through Thursday, our formal school work with, you know, all the subjects, history, Bible, geography, math, whatever, all the subjects. We did all the subjects, and then on Friday we used as a catch-up day, and if we didn't have anything to catch up on, then we used it as a life learning day / family day, where we could learn about changing the oil, doing things in the backyard, going to help someone, whatever it was, a family fun day. And that was really great because my husband has Fridays off usually for the most part, and we got to spend the time together as a family. And once a month my kids took a class at a local nature center, and they learned about all kinds of science, about the outdoors and all kinds of things like that. And so we did that once a month on a Friday. So the 4-day option, you know, however your family works. I know some people who use Sonlight, the parents both work and they kind of split up the schedule, or they have to do their schoolwork Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and those are their school days. Or they do, you know, someone could do Monday, Tuesday, not on Wednesday because their parent doesn't work that day or for whatever reason, and then Thursday and Friday do schoolwork, or however it works. I think it's best to choose the 4-day-a-week option and knock out those 36 weeks and use the extra day, in our case a Friday, for extra work that you might want to learn about, a family day, life learning skills day. The next tip is help your kids to become more responsible and independent. So as a parent, that's our job, to raise our kids to eventually leave our nest, as hard as it may be, and to live life on their own. So I know this is like, you know, I'm saying all that, but it's hard for me to do that sometimes. I struggle with reminding too much, and then that's caused other issues, problems, and I'm working on that. It's like your boss doesn't give you a reminder to get your job done. You just have to get it done, or you have to suffer the consequences, whatever they may be. And so I am working on that. So back to letting your kids learn about being responsible. How I've made this work for us is that I've made them planners, and at the beginning of each week, or on a Sunday night before the school week starts for us, whenever it works for you, for us we start on Monday. So Sunday for me, I plan out what they are going to be doing that week. I will get you the planner that I made so I can show you. I will probably do a video of a walkthrough of one of these and offer printables over on my blog. So this is Lincoln's planner, and I'll open it to a week so you can see it. So it says Lincoln's assignments, the week. This is just an example. And then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, of course, that didn't have anything unless I happen to put something on that day. And it has what they are going to do for each of their subjects. And so on their language arts, I had numbered them, what to do. and it had what chapters for their specific reader that they have for Sonlight, and all of this, how many lessons on math or whatever, and they knew what to do and they can cross it off. And I also told them throughout the year that they can work ahead, not that that happened very much, they could work ahead on things that didn't involve much of me. So then they could work ahead, they didn't do that much, but this is how it works. So to foster responsibility on your kids, that's our main goal. Then of course, this isn't specific to Sonlight, but I had them have their weekly responsibilities and things that they did in the morning time and the evening time, their specific chores. And this is how I helped them be responsible of doing their part. And the last tip I have is to consider your organization style. For me, I wanted a place to have all of my Sonlight curriculum, and I made a whole video on this, and you can go ahead and watch this, but I will insert in some clips of here of where I organize my curriculum, and so I could just easily get to it when we needed it. And then the other thing is the organization that I found that works for me was to have these bound. So what I'm talking about is, for instance, my son used the language arts D, and so I had this bound, and it's just right here, and I can pull this out when I need it, and I didn't have to pull out the whole instructor's guide, which is a big bulky type of thing. And if we were going somewhere or whatever, I could just bring this, and he could bring his book that he needed for that specific week. And this kept it all in there. They can't say, oh, I lost my paper, I don't know where it is. It's all in there, and good for organization. And this is how I kept their schoolwork organized for language arts. And I did the very same thing for their science as well. So that's my last tip, to find an organization style that works for you, whether having it all in a big tub and you keep it all in there, keeping it on a bookshelf, using the instructor's guide and keeping all of each other instructor guides in there, or doing it as I did where I bound the books so that they were easy accessible for me. That is a good tip just for any homeschooler, to organize how it works for you and how flow is easiest for you. Well, I thank you guys so much for watching my 10 tips on using Sonlight and how I used it and it worked for me and my family. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I would ask that you consider subscribing below to see videos. I do videos about homeschooling, I do grocery hauls, I share my favorites, my motherhood stuff, just all kinds of stuff like that. If you are interested in Sonlight, I have a link below and you can check it out. And if you ever decide to purchase anything, you can save a little bit of money by using that link and the code that I listed below. I would again like to thank Sonlight for letting us use the level D this year for my 4th and 5th grader. I will leave a playlist below of all of the videos, as well as at the end of this video, where you can check out all of my Sonlight videos and our experience over this year. Well, I hope that you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.